Hi everybody, I am so excited today. I'm in Oregon and there is a man here named Bruce Campbell who lives in a 727. That's right, somehow he managed to get a real Boeing 727 into the woods and he turned it into his home. You know, when I was a kid, I used to watch a TV show with Bill Bixby called The Magician, and he lived in an airplane, he lived in a jet, and I thought that was the coolest thing. But that was TV, and this is real. I don't know what to expect. I contacted Bruce Campbell. He invited me to his airplane home, so that's where we're heading now. So we're getting close. We're almost to the airplane home, the 727 in the woods. I'll tell you what, if you have Google Earth and you want to take a look, it's near Hillsboro, Oregon, and it's the most amazing thing. It's kind of how I came across it. I thought, what is that? And it was a full-size jetliner in the woods. Now, I don't know what to expect. I've never been there. I've seen some pictures online, but I know it's going to be exciting. This road is something else. Oh my goodness, I think I see it. Wow. Holy cow. This is incredible. Words can't even begin to describe how amazing this is. I can't wait to talk to him. I can't imagine how he got this plane up here in the woods. Is it safe to walk underneath this? Wow. This is I am at an absolute loss for words. It is a full-size airplane, and we're in the middle of the woods. Look all around me. There's nothing here. I don't even know how to knock on the door. I'm going to try to find an entrance. Looks like an entrance. I'm guessing this is Bruce's back door. Here he comes. This is amazing. Wow. Can you tell me about the floor?
It was serendipitous. It's not a Boeing floor, of course.
Right.
The Tektronix Country Store, which is a surplus store for Tektronix, had these acrylic sheets for sale for only $20 each. 4x9 sheets or 5x9 sheets. And I thought they were cool and cheap, so I bought a bunch of them.
So what floor was here when you got it?
These.
And is that a normal aircraft floor?
Yeah. This is this aircraft entered service when Neil Armstrong said, "That's one small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind." That was 1969, and you can see this is honeycomb composite structure.
Oh yeah.
And feel the mass.
Oh, very light.
Yeah.
Really light.
I heard that Boeing said, I don't have a confirmation of this, so I'm not certain. I heard that Boeing said that if a 1-ounce sugar packet falls into the space between two seat cushions and it wiggles down and nobody sees it for 1 year, and then finally a cleaning crew notices it, pulls it out and says, "Ooh, disgusting," and tosses it out. Your jetliner will have burned an extra 4 liters of fuel hauling that sugar packet around during that
Really?
year. Yeah.
Wow.
It makes sense if you start running the numbers.
So you want everything light.
Yeah, you want everything light, and this is 1960s technology, but they still use composite. And this same material is used in many of the wing panels as well.
No kidding.
Yeah, if it doesn't have to take a lot of force, or it's not holding the fuel, then they use the lightest material, which is reliable. If it's mission critical, then they're obviously very careful about these things, and a lot of the wing structure is, of course, aluminum alloy. And just sort of for the time being until I get the climate control system.
Oh yeah, you can feel a difference when you walk into this room, can't you? So where does the power come from, Bruce?
The grid.
So you're just...
Are basically flying homes.
Really?
Yeah. They have everything we need to live. Climate control system, lighting systems, plumbing systems, laboratories, everything except the shower and a clothes washer. So basically, if you wheel an aircraft up to your land site and you acquire the Boeing ramp connectors, you can plug those on, for water. I can't turn on the cabin lights because there's a malfunction, which I'm troubleshooting generally now.
So this is like the galley area where they would...
Yeah, forward galley. There's an aft galley as well, although it's filled with material now. As you noticed, I'm in the middle of fabricating a support structure for the forward landing gear.
Yeah.
So I'm keeping as much mass aft as I can.
Now, did you know a lot about aircrafts when you first bought this?
No. Most of it's self-evident. I'm an engineer, so that helped. But,
Oh, really?
yeah, but a lot of it is just learning by doing, like everything else in life,
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. Now, do you open these ever?
This one is jammed,
Okay.
and I have a challenge in unjamming it and getting it open, and then lubricating the bearings, which are the cause of the jam. So normally I could open that one. This one goes open.
And what would this go, if you would open it, where would it go to? Nowhere.
This one has a slide. Actually, the other one has a slide too, but it's not on the door at this time. We're going to get some debris fall in because I haven't opened this in quite a while, and there's been a lot of weather. So be prepared for that. And watch that first step.
Holy moly. Wow.
So the slide is pretty useful if you really have to get out in an emergency.
And where would the slide be?
It's mounted to the door.
Okay.
So if the slide's activated, then it would pop down from there. It would pop down onto the ground.
And is that
part way to the ground?
Is that inflatable or?
Yeah. It's it's self-inflatable. It would not actually extend all the way to the ground, but it'd get you a lot closer than you are now.
Wow.
And it's not really ready to go. Frankly, you have to remove the bar, the slide bar, and it's supposed to attach to clamps on the floor. But I have not reinstalled those clamps. They were attached to the native composite floor. I removed that one and replaced with acrylic.
So it's pretty flame resistant.
Yeah.
Is it okay to walk in here?
Yeah. It's almost in. Let's see. It's almost in flame. Wow, what's the correct rhetoric? I can do this if you like.
Oh, man, that's wonderful. Now, what is that we're looking at?
That's a non-native screen. It's just a personal computer display.
Okay.
Mounted. This aircraft entered service in 1969, and there was no flat panel display technology at that time.
Now, all of these switches and things, are any of those functional? Are they hooked up to anything?
Yeah, most of them are. They're all circuit breakers. This is strictly a circuit breaker panel, and that's the only control I currently have for the flight deck red lights.
All right.
The P5 panel is the overhead panel, and that's...
Can I sit?
Yeah. The forward section is for lighting controls of all kinds. Beacons, position lights, landing lights, turn-off lights, flight deck lights, lots of things, and also a bunch of other functions. Cabin control, cabin-related environmental controls, communication systems, and so on. This was the flight engineer station, which is obsolete now in all modern aircraft. This was a 3-crew aircraft, but in earlier times, or rather in current times, aircraft are all two crew aircraft.
Wow. Now, have you learned a lot about pilot controls and flying and things just from living here?
Well, a little bit, although I'm a pilot.
Oh, okay.
Although I was never a commercial pilot, I was just a small aircraft pilot. But I was instrument, and am still instrument rated, and so a lot of it is sort of second nature to me. About 3 jetliners retire from service every day, and the vast majority are, well, as far as I know, the vast majority are flown to a death camp and executed. And we shred our finest aerospace technology and turn it into tinsel and turn it into garbage.
It's kind of crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's completely
Kind of crazy.
And I hope to change that with the next project. This project is not compelling enough to change the global habit, but I hope the next one will be. I hope we can go from start to finish in 6 months, have a fully operational, gorgeous bird as a result, and that will serve as an example for what we should be doing. Yeah.
How many square feet would this be if this were like a normal home? What would you'd put it on the market and say how many square feet?
99 square meters, which is 1,066 square feet. So it's suitable for a person like me or a small family. Doesn't include the cargo bays or the electronic space, but they're not stand-up room bays in this area. In a wide body they are. You can stand up in them in the wide body, but not in this.
Can you access it all from your panels?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah, for instance, this is the electronics bay. And this is my access point. I just dropped down there, and I did earlier this morning as I was beginning some of the troubleshooting of the cabin lights. It's a real shame I can't turn those on right now because it makes everything bright and lively looking. But I've got some glitch, and I just have to troubleshoot that until it's...
I would imagine that the insulation would be really good in something like this since you have to...
I know that's a common perception, but it's not true.
Really?
The insulation is very high quality. Now they're all sewn like custom parkas. These are all custom shaped and sewn into sort of a parka-like structure, which fits every spot precisely. However, remember, 1 ounce is 4 liters of fuel per year. So they face a trade-off in my estimation. I haven't studied this, and I haven't had a technology chat with design people, but in my estimation, they face a mass versus fuel consumption trade-off. At some point, even though insulation is light, the mass of the insulation becomes a greater fuel consumption element than the fuel consumption for heat. So, there's some point when you get diminishing returns, but maybe that's not the most restrictive factor. Maybe the most restrictive factor is it's a relatively narrow space and they don't want to consume too much passenger room. Passengers pay money. Yeah. So it may be, as much as anything, simply that they don't have the volume available to make the insulation as thick as they otherwise would.
So what's the width of this interior width?
It's 11.7 or 11.4. I can't remember in English system. 11 feet 7 or 4 inches. I can't remember.
So pretty comparable to a lot of standard bedrooms and living rooms and things of that nature.
Yeah, I suppose.
10 by 12 would be a bedroom, maybe.
Yeah.
Now, is this functional?
No. Every now and then, on rare occasions, one of my visitors will use this lab before I notice that they're in there, and then I have to rinse it out. But I don't normally keep it connected. Now I have 2 utilities: electricity. Oh, actually, I have 1 utility: electricity. The water is from a private well adjacent to my aircraft, and septic system for sewer, and a cell phone for communications.
Well, that was the next thing I was going to ask you about. This phone here.
Oh, yeah. Intercom phone.
Oh, that's an intercom phone.
Yeah.
Does it work?
No.
Okay.
The salvage company did a lot of damage.
Wow. And are any of these seats from this?
They're all from this aircraft.
They're all from this? Okay.
And Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis Keister was in one of the seat cushions.
Really?
Yeah, or maybe one I gave away. I'm not sure. She didn't leave a note. I wish she had left a note saying Mike Keister was here.
She was in this plane?
Yeah, because Aristotle Onassis, who was the owner of Olympic Airways, and this aircraft was his last ride home. He was in his box in the aft cargo bay, and the Kennedy entourage and other State Department officials at that time were up in the cabin accompanying him back home for his burial. And then there's the wing.
Wow. It's my understanding you removed the wings to transport, correct?
Yeah, you can see the cut line. Now it turns out that there was a way to remove the wings without causing any damage, without any cuts, but I didn't know about it until too late.
If this were your perfect final vision, what would it look like?
Well, it would be refined. So all the interior panels would be back in place. I'd have a nice refined cover for this. And this interior area would be set up for ordinary life. And the flight deck would be as fully restored as I can, although that's a big job. But I'm old, and the clock is ticking. And so as difficult as it is for me to discipline myself, I just have to prioritize. You know, the most important thing to me is to be successful with a compelling example which changes global habits.
How many people do you suppose visit you?
A couple thousand maybe, I don't know. But I ask people to please email bruce@airplanehome.com and set up a date and time so I know you're coming, because that way I can send information.
And by the way, we did do that. I contacted Bruce ahead of time, and he was kind enough to give me all the instructions and told me how to get here. And we set up a time and we organized it, and that's why I'm here. So this is a cargo bay?
Yeah, that's where Aristotle Onassis' casket was.
Really?
When he was being taken. As you can see, it's just chaotically crammed with aircraft components now.
Now, are there like cargo doors under there?
Yeah, there's a cargo door right there.
Right there.
And then there's an aft cargo door, somewhat smaller.
Oh, I see it. Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a...
I just love how Bruce says, I'm going to go to the flight deck. I have to turn some lights on. It was a flight deck in their home. Just fascinating. So this is a functional bathroom here. And then this is the guest bathroom. So yes, 2 functional bathrooms.
Feel free to flush a toilet if you like.
All right, we're gonna try the toilet. So there's proof that it does work. That's on a timer?
It's a pneumatic timer. In this era, they squeezed air from a chamber, and then there's a tiny hole in which the air returned into the chamber, which determined the time of the flush water flow.
Oh, okay. That
So
makes
I
sense.
used the native thing.
But you kept it?
Yeah, I kept it intact.
This is our black box. I think I might not have had that on when I might not have been filming, because I get so fascinated I forget to turn the camera on.
Yeah.
And this is, once again, the aft engine, you said?
Number 2 engine compartment.
Number 2 engine
And
compartment.
this used to be filled with a big S-duct at that diameter, which routed from the number 2 engine nacelle to the number 2 engine compartment.
And what's back here? Is this air intake or?
Yeah, so that's the number 2 engine nacelle, and then the nacelle means air intake structure.
Wow.
And then the S-duct was ultra smooth inside, and so air could flow very efficiently to the number 2 engine.
So would this have been sealed, or is that
Yeah.
where the staircase goes up? Or?
No, this is all sealed. So when the aircraft is in operational state, there's a ceiling right here, so you could not see any of the cathedral effect or the S-duct. It was crammed with it.
Now, can you retract these stairs if you want to?
Yes, and I do. Anytime I depart for an extended period, the air stairs are retracted and locked.
All right. Well, lead the way.
Okay. In with ribs, take your time, be safe, be sure you've got good holds and won't slip, because if you do, it's very dangerous. And that's it. It's not for everybody.
And that's how we get up.
Yeah.
All right. Go to the right wingtip. Yep.
First thing, there's a cover panel. Very good. And you can see how cut smooth.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of bounce to it. Wow.
The inboard flaps are not fully retracted. I made a sequencing mistake in the mechanism as we were reinstalling the inboard flaps. So when the weather's good and there's time available, I have to re-extend them, correct the sequencing error, and then retract them fully.
Are those lights that we see flashing, are those original lights?
Well, it's the original light structure. That's the original beacon bottle. However, the original rotating beacon was replaced with an LED beacon because I save about 80 watts of power.
Now, right there is where we just were. That's where you crawled out of.
Yeah. Don't do this at home.
That is awesome. Now I have to tell everybody that I was a chicken. I wouldn't go up there.
No, you weren't a chicken. You were being wise. No.
Yeah, and don't come here and crawl around on Bruce's plane. That's a naughty thing to do. Don't do it. Yeah, you wouldn't want someone crawling on your home. Don't crawl on Bruce's home. This is amazing. It's the first time in my life I stood on the wing of an airplane. But so this is where we were looking out. So this is from the outside looking in, where we just were.
And if it were unlocked, you could get in from the outside. You know, it's an emergency access point. However, it's locked, so it's not possible now.
And what is the airline?
Olympic Airways.
Olympic. And all we have is Oli. That's all we have left. So.
Because airlines don't want their livery to be visible at a death camp.
Oh. Somebody, someday, it might be 100 years from now, is going to have to move this, right?
Well, I hope not.
Numbers here, are those still, are those original?
No, it was re-registered when it entered the United States for the salvage operation, even though the original registration is SXCDC.
Well, I'm going to get off here. It's getting dark, and I want to make sure that I can see what I'm doing. I think it's time to say goodbye to Bruce. Well,
I'll grab a flashlight and I'll turn on the landing lights. Well, actually, turn off.
oh, you still have landing lights?
Yeah. But I'll turn on just the turn-off lights. They consume a lot less power and they're plenty bright enough. I'll be right back. I'm going to the flight deck and grab a flashlight, which I have.
Once again, Bruce is going to the flight deck, and he's going to turn on the landing lights so we can have a little brightness out here, even though it's very, very dark right now. So here he comes. He's coming from the flight deck, and he went to turn on some lights, so we'll see what the lights look like outside when we get there.
Okay, if I'm lucky, I've got a new toy in my mailbox. I frequently purchase things from AliExpress.com.
So it's an airplane toy.
Yeah, mostly. Yeah, sometimes it's a personal toy. Okay, I recommend we go there. Lots of work to do. I need to install the flap track covers, retract the inboard flaps, install the fuel cell covers. That was where the gas was. Wings.
That was it, huh?
Yeah, jetliner wings are just wet fuel containers. They're basically flying fuel tanks.
And what is going to be supported now when you get the concrete poured?
The forward landing gear. So basically, it'll provide a bowl-shaped resting place for the landing gear.
So there's our landing lights.
Yeah. Well, they're actually turn-off lights.
Turn-off lights. Okay.
They're just they're not the bright lights. The really bright lights go straight forward, but these go off at an angle so that. Would
those be the actual type of bulbs that were in it?
Yeah, those are the native bulbs.
Those are
incandescent power-consuming bulbs. Yeah,
Isn't that something?
They'll be replaced ultimately by LEDs.
So I hope you enjoyed my visit to Bruce Campbell's 727 home there in the woods. It was fascinating, wasn't it? I'm wrapping things up here. I'm actually at an airport. I'm in Atlanta. And it was getting so dark that I just thought that I would wait until we had a better chance and some better lighting to say our goodbyes. But I hope that you enjoyed it. It was just fascinating. I do apologize for some of the lighting. I know the footage wasn't the greatest. There was only so much that we could do in the plane, as I don't know if you heard what he said, but he said that there was a short or something, and that's why all of the cabin lights were out. And that's why it was so dark. And that's why he said that he was down below before I arrived. He was trying to check things out and see if he couldn't find the electrical short. But it was just a great journey, and there was no way I was going to climb up inside that tail. I started to climb up, and I said, no, I thought I probably would have been okay going up. I wasn't sure about coming back down. So he, at one point he said, I'm old. Boy, for someone that's old, he was spry and limber, and he really got around, and he was just so full of life. And I enjoyed the visit, and I hope you enjoyed it too. I hope you join me on future adventures. I'm going to do my best to upload regularly on Wednesdays. I'll still have my other videos. I'll still do my room tours and that sort of thing, but my main videos, my visits to different places, I'm going to try to upload on Wednesdays. So thanks for joining me. I hope that you took something away from Bruce Campbell and his 727 home. I'm Mark with the Average Meat Channel.